Hey, everybody. We are joined with my friend Hillary Smith, who is the social media strategist at Clemson University in South Carolina.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I have never rolled through there before, but next time I do, beer's on me. But Hillary and I go way back, all the way back to Youngstown, Ohio, when I was teaching there. And actually, I think you were probably a student. Or when did you graduate?
I graduated in 2014.
Okay, that's the year I was at YSU for 2 years at that point.
Okay.
So yeah, so you were a student there, I was teaching there, and then we just kind of met in the middle, probably around the Do Yo conference, and then also the City of You stuff. At the time, if I recall, you were running like a fashion blog.
Yeah, my sister and I, and then we did that live. Yeah, we did that live podcast and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really, really fun. I still refer back to that all the time.
Oh, really? Oh, great. Well, thank you. That means a lot. That was a lot of fun. And I remember how nervous your sister was.
Yeah.
And I remember so for context, we had these live storytelling sessions with the City of You campaign, which is rebranding the city of Youngstown. And we had these storytelling sessions live in a gallery in downtown Youngstown. And Hillary and her sister, Andrea, right? Andrea?
Yeah.
Were the featured guests. And I was trying to have good conversation, ask poignant questions, and Hillary was on fire, just answering everything on time, well delivered. And then I would ask Andrea something, and put the mic near her face, and then she'd just be like this. Words. Yeah. I'm saying words, and so I got an object lesson in really how to interview people that did not know what to say. To say the least.
And like I kept forgetting too, like this sounds terrible to say, but how young she is. Like she's so much younger than me, so like I kind of would forget that. She's like 5 years younger. So at that time she was only like maybe 17. So
really, she was a teenager at that point?
Yeah, she was young.
Oh wow, I thought she was in school. I thought she was just shy. I mean, I taught in an art school, for God's sakes. Everyone's a shy introvert in art school. So it didn't even occur to me. Well, give her my best when you see her, and you can show this portion of the interview to her, and hopefully she won't be embarrassed. Sorry.
No, she won't.
Yeah. So so you're at Clemson. You're the social media strategist. How the hell did you get there?
It's a good question. So I was working at the Cafaro company in Niles. I was their social media strategist there. And I just was ready for a change. I had interned there during undergrad and kind of moved into a position there. And I was just ready for something different. So I happened to come across this position on LinkedIn. I was super annoying to the hiring manager, the person that hired me. And I reached out to him on LinkedIn a lot. I was just kind of annoying. I'm like, I'm never going to meet this person. And like, I don't have a shot. You know what I mean? I just felt like I didn't really have a shot. So why not just be annoying about it? And I was super persistent and I made sure I followed up. I was very timely with everything. And honestly, by the end of the day, like they brought me down for an interview and, they hired me within the next week. So,
wow.
Yeah, they were one big thing that really helped. I think, they told me after I got hired was my blog. So they were like, we really loved being able to see like your work somewhere, living somewhere, like blogging. I mean, as you know, like there's so many components to it. And like, those were super great skills to have transitioning. So I was going up against like internal candidates. I mean, they were telling me there's about 300 people that applied. So it's just really cool just to see that like, that actually did pay off, and just having that strong personal brand.
I love the fact that you were annoying and persistent because I'm the same way. And sometimes it backfires, sometimes it doesn't. I feel like you probably had a hiring manager that was very willing to be annoyed.
Right.
And that's good because it obviously paid off. And just based on what I've seen with what you're doing on Facebook and in the hired social group and all of that, like they really value the work that you're doing down there. And they've given you a lot of opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, working for a university, you have so many opportunities. And this has always been a goal of mine to get into higher ed, but I just didn't think it was soon.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily for me, like I've been able to do so many things, and I have a pretty much a empty palette to just kind of create our own tone and rhythm and what we want to do on social. So it's been really awesome. Luckily, like I work for somewhere that, they value conferences and opportunities on campus. And, I'm in a master's program now. So like, it's really nice that I can do that and just kind of expand on my social space.
Is that an MBA?
No, I'm actually doing the master's in marketing. So it's a
Oh, okay.
1-year program. Yeah. So it's been nice. I'm going full time, so it's just been a little nuts. But it's just been really great to kind of tie in work that I have.
Well, one of the nice things, one of the perks with working in higher education is you essentially get that free degree,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I kind of kick myself because like I went all the way up to a PhD, and it's like, why didn't I try to get hired at these places first? My friend Ryan, who ironically I recorded a podcast with this morning, he runs alumni engagement at California University of Pennsylvania, and he has a doctorate degree, doctor of science, in like some health sciences or something like that. And he was wise enough to go get a job there first and then get the doctoral degree, and now he's still doing that job, right? So he doesn't have to worry about like graduating and then not having a job.
Yeah.
So your tactics here were really on point and wise.
Yeah. I think, you really have to have your game plan figured out. Like if you want to do your master's or PhD, like you need to know like, okay, like this is expensive, how can we get this
Right.
covered? And luckily it worked out really well. So.
So you're getting your master's in marketing, and what would like the next step be there? Are you looking at doing a PhD or doctoral degree sometime, or?
Yeah, it's definitely more of a reality than I had pictured and anticipated. I am doing some research work with a professor, so that's been awesome to be just on campus, experiencing work and school at the same time, and to be able to just have a meeting with our communications team, and then to go to a meeting with my professor, and so it's just been a really cool dynamic. But my plan is to, within hopefully the next like 2 years, go back for a PhD. My work is really, I'm very passionate about accessibility on social media and how there's a lack in public policy regarding it. There's a huge disconnect between users and everything like that. So we're really kind of uncovering what that looks like from a public policy standpoint. And so like I'll be attending, hopefully, probably not, but hopefully I got accepted to speak at a conference in California with my research. And I got accepted to a doctoral seminar at Loyola in Los Angeles as well. But again, probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But, it just seems like everything's kind of lining up really well for that. So it's been exciting.
That's where the trajectory is going. That's awesome, and congratulations. Hopefully, if you can't get there in person, they'll do a teleconference, so to speak, Zoom call. Yeah. I was supposed to speak to the Undergraduate American Marketing Association conference down in New Orleans, and obviously couldn't make it. But so I did the Zoom call in, and that worked out pretty well. So
yeah, we're fortunate for that.
So you're at Clemson, you're doing the social media work, you're a student, and you've got a very clear career path for yourself. You're not always going to be doing social media though, especially as your career moves on. What's sort of the highest level you want to hit?
That's a good question. I don't know. I've just seen like academia versus industry, because like I'm obviously in between both of them in a way. I personally probably want to stay more in academia after this. Like to be honest, I've been doing social media for about 8 years now. So I you kind of hit that burnout point where you're just like, okay, like I'm ready to see like what bigger difference I can make. And I think that's where like I can see more of that going towards academia. and like accessibility and public policy and like those aspects, because I have a solid grasp of social media, whereas like there's definitely like people doing that research that don't and haven't worked in that day to day.
Right.
So just hoping I could take that experience and kind of snowball it into a bigger picture. But I mean, I would love to be teaching somewhere, just giving that insight.
For sure. And, one of the nice things about like what you and I do is that we can have the day to day, the 9 to 5. And then, if we're doing social media, honestly, some of that involves working from home. Like that stuff lives on your phone. You can't necessarily escape it, but you can also teach classes. And then if you wanted to, you could have your own sort of side practice consulting. So you really get to kind of be recession proof in a sense.
Right.
Recession's bad, stay in higher ed. Recession is gone, economy's good. You can, teach classes because there'll be more students. And then you could also do consulting because people will be spending money on ad buys and marketing and stuff like that. So it's kind of a really nice niche spot to be in.
I feel very blessed. I think the situation with the coronavirus has made me really appreciate working from home, the job that I'm in. So
yeah. Well, on that note, how are you handling the outbreak? Your school, I'm guessing they're non-essential people off campus, all online, remote learning. How are you handling it?
So we just announced our big updates last night. So it's been kind of a crazy 24 hours. Luckily our social team has a really good concept of crisis. It's just obviously working with the outside groups to kind of hone them in and get them to understand how important it is to be able to have those questions answered and to be able to respond. When this all kind of started, we made a few outlines of some things, some goals of ours that we really wanted to achieve. We looked at what other schools were doing and what they weren't doing. And that's kind of how we built out that goal sheet. And one big thing for us was we wanted to be heavy on community management. We wanted to respond to everyone. We wanted to at least give them some type of guidance to where they can find that information. So that was really big for us. And I would say that it's really helped a lot of that. And it's really kind of, we've gotten a lot of thank you notes and our audience has really appreciated that. So now we're like just moving week to week because we were kind of more day to day. Now we're moving week to week. Next week, what does that look like? Now that we have these updates, like, can we add in a little bit more content? And then every week we're hoping to just kind of bring our in-person content more virtually. So obviously it's going to take time and we're trying to adjust, what does student of the week look like now? And like, what does like this takeover look like? And what does Tour Tuesday look like? So it's just like adjusting, but it's going well. I mean, it's really unfortunate. It's really sad. And it's honestly probably been the saddest thing I've ever had to post was the fact we were postponing graduation. And it's funny because like, these students are like, how could you do this to us? And I'm like, okay, like, I feel you. Like, I was supposed to walk in May, like with my master's degree. So I'm right there with you. Like, we're in this together. And, so it's just like, I feel like that approach has really kind of helped too.
Right. Yeah, I know a lot of social media managers were pretty sad to share that news, and the students were even more upset to hear it. But I think collectively, everyone's been fairly understanding.
Right.
We had to do the same thing in Pitt Business, and it's tough. Yeah. But it's better than the alternative. So bearing that in mind, so our day-to-day life has just been thrown askew. Like, all of our events were canceled. I'm assuming they all were down in your neck of the woods. So what is it that we do now, right?
That's a good question.
So like, I'm having conversations with folks such as yourself, and, I'm doing a lot of research on recruitment, admissions, looking at a lot of numbers and data analytics, and just trying to understand the factual landscape of what we've been experiencing in the recent past, like this academic year, and then just exactly what that'll look like in the fall even. Like, I don't anticipate, and I hope I'm wrong, but like, I feel like it's going to take like a full year to a year and a half to like recover from all of this. At the earliest, of course. So I'm just doing a lot of reading and trying to keep myself busy. What are you up to pass the time?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is waiting on those updates last night that we had. So that's been consuming my week, is just kind of
Hmm.
sitting on pins and needles, like having action plans ready to go. But you know, I feel like next week I have a solid game plan. I needed an adjustment period. Like I needed a week just like, what is this?
Right.
So you know, my goal next week is to get back on LinkedIn. I've kind of taken a seat back and just, you know, I had a goal of posting once a day, and I hope to get back to that and just kind of reconnect with my connections on there.
Hmm.
I have created a little library as well of reading to do, of books that I've just been wanting to get to. A lot of, you know, marketing books, a lot of business books. So those have been really great to just kind of keep back in touch with those. And really just kind of taking this time to like just reevaluate, like, you know, what is like, where are my strengths and weaknesses, and like where do
Hmm.
I need to be better at, and like where am I falling short, and that's kind of just been like a really weird thing to experience, because I,
Right.
again, wasn't planning on it, but it's been really helpful, and catching up on a lot of certifications that I've been interested in doing, and just stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be a very growing period.
So let me ask you about that because you know, we've got students that are going to graduate and they're going to enter a very uncertain economy. You know, like what kind of jobs are they going to be open for? What are going to be available? Even, you know, there's so much uncertainty that I don't think anyone can really answer that um, totally. But this idea of professional development in times of outbreak, I think that's a great suggestion. How do you just take your skills and augment them and push them forward, and be disciplined with it? You know, I feel like a lot of folks can essentially they make a class for themselves. You can jump on LinkedIn Learning or
Mhm.
find one of the other myriad of certification tools, or you could go straight to the source, like with Hootsuite or Facebook. What what kind of certifications are you interested in, and what would you recommend to students that are graduating with their bachelors and entering the marketing field?
It's definitely going to be a tough time. I graduated from high school in 2009, so it was like right on the end of the Great Recession, and like, you know,
Hmm.
what does that mean for college? And you know, so I had to make the decision of, all right, you know, obviously, why she was a great choice. Youngstown State was a great choice, but you know, for me, it was like this is the only affordable choice that I had.
Hmm.
So like I get that hard decision, and after I graduated college, it was still tough. You know, I ended up working as a secretary at the Cafaro company, secretary in the marketing department. It wasn't my ideal job as a graduate, but like for me, I knew the trajectory was once I get in there, I can kind of build and grow into that position that they will have
Right.
available. So I guess my biggest thing, my biggest takeaway for that is, you know, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to get creative and use this time to build that professional development, like you said. A few things I recommend. I actually brought this book. So this is a really good book. This is Daniel Pink, To Sell is Human. And there's some really cool pitch ideas in here. So if you're pitching to a future employer, there's
Hmm.
6 of them in here. I think there's 6 or 7 of them.
Okay.
But they're really, really short, sweet, to the point. They're really cool. I would definitely recommend that for someone. Online courses, I would definitely get Google certified in Google Analytics. Facebook has all of their paid courses that are all free. I would definitely do that. And this isn't specific to social media. This is just marketing in general and any
Sure.
brand strategy. Like this is going to help you think outside the box, I think is the biggest thing. You know, Twitter has a certification. You could do their coursework. And just really kind of reaching out to your LinkedIn connections, because luckily for us that do work in marketing, you know, like we've mentioned, you can work online, you can work remote. We have
Hmm.
flexibility. And just really thinking about your personal brands. Like I mentioned earlier, my blog got me to where I am today because I felt like a very strong personal brand compared to anybody that hasn't even looked at that. So
Right.
just making sure that you have like things built out that can show your writing, your reading, your strategy, and what it looks like when you build a connection and you build something. And luckily right now that we do have some downtime, you know, building on those writing and reading skills, I think is such a great idea. So yeah.
And yeah, and so I love all of that because I've been even looking at some of those certifications, and having been a faculty person for so long, like faculty don't necessarily get the opportunities to do a lot of professional development. It's sort of implied that it's built in with your research, like you learn what you need to through that discovery process. So you embarking on some of those different certifications, rather, I think is great. And I've been looking at them too. The ones that cost money for like the testing, those are kind of bitter pills to swallow. But I think that they'll make you a profoundly better professional. The other thing that I think you can speak to in this respect is also, like, if you have the downtime, build something. Exactly what you said. Like, if you don't want to do certifications and tests and learn more after learning for 4 years, like, make something. Have some fun with it. Do something cool. So that way if you do have an interview with a prospective employer, or you want to start your own consulting business or practice, you have that as an example of what you're capable of.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows your resilience. And it happened to be where when I was interviewing for this position, I just got a digital camera, and I was like, all right, like, I feel like I need to understand the language of photography. So it was really great when I was asked during my interview, like, hey, what's something you've really wanted to learn and you started to learn? I was able to share that process. So, this is the time where you can get familiar with Adobe products. You can get familiar with photography and videography, and just really kind of take that time to build those skills. So when you do get into a brand role, you can speak their language and understand what they're looking for. And it's just more attractive. So
absolutely. And, I think that also, again, you're hitting like all the points. So integrated marketing, that means different things to all people. But from my point of view, when a student graduates, they are getting a lot of, the philosophy side of marketing. They're getting the techniques and some practice, but they're not necessarily well-rounded with regards to all of the other things that affect marketing and all the things that marketing affects. So you're learning more about photography, complementary skills. What about design? Or even, just writing in general. Like, marketing programs don't necessarily teach you how to be a writer. They teach you how to market. So you might not be a great writer, but a hell of a marketer, but you got to balance that out. Right. So there's a number of different things that you could do, even just in some general learning. So, and, that's just going to help build out your complementary skill set, make you more of a better candidate, a more appealing candidate, right? So, okay, so you've said some amazing things. I want to keep some of those amazing things in your brain because I want to do this again at some point, hopefully soon. If students are interested in learning more about you, who you are, what you do, how can they get in touch with you and check out some of your work?
LinkedIn is my favorite. So definitely find me on LinkedIn. I'm sure happy to share the URL and definitely connect, reach out. I love working with students and just providing some advice. At least I hope I am. But just being able to just be there for somebody, because I know when I was in that position, I reached out to so many people and it was really depressing when nobody would respond. But then you get those few and it was just like those nuggets of information that you just hold on to dearly. So happy to do that for anyone. You'll find me on Instagram right now. I gave it up for Lent. So I
okay.
Instagram, and I'm only on Facebook because of Messenger and because I know you and I needed to connect on Facebook. So, but yeah, so definitely LinkedIn right now.
Well, if you prefer a different means of communication, I will adapt.
I've been keeping up with that higher ed group too. So I'm like, this is all work related. So it's fine.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that group is fantastic. I just interviewed Andrea Sereno, who runs the group. So she's awesome. So you'll have to check her episode out when I post this one. So
sweet.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Hillary.
Thank you.
Stay safe out there. Have a great day. And we'll check in with you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thanks.